Peace, 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 peace. Mm, it's a little dark, so I apologize for the lighting and the roosters. It's the crack of dawn. But I felt the need to come on here and just share with the intentions of raising the vibration of collective consciousness, especially as it relates to our babies. Um, I received so many downloads throughout the whole night into the early morning. I was literally didn't receive any sleep. But anyhow, please allow me to take my time with this one. This is a very sensitive subject. Right now, I know a lot of mothers have been, especially mothers that are parenting men, children, young boys, and particularly those of us who are raising our children single-handedly, but not to negate from those who are raising in a two-parent or plural household, whatever that looks like. But the point that I'm making is that our children have been experiencing a lot of depression, anxiety, hurt, on top of some of the traumas that they may have been birthed into this world with and developed, as they've been living in this lifetime. And some of my story, my son and I, we have battled with his traumas and his moments of depression and not knowing how to express himself or express his emotions, and it shows up in forms of toxic behavior. And so a situation arose last night where he jumped out of character and said some things that were inappropriate. And it really allowed me to remember that I am the woman who lightens the darkness, to remember my tools as a mother. And I've been spending the last few days in the quantum, working on him as well as a nephew of mine. And the heart is so heavy. I can't even put it into words, but these babies are hurting. These babies need a lot of healing. And, as the days to come, I will be facilitating some healing sessions and ceremonies. If you don't follow my Instagram or my Facebook page, Eve Sacred Portal, please do so, because I will be posting that information over there, as well as offering some live sound healing session for our babies. I feel called to do that. It's so much. It is so much. And I feel like there's a call to action for us as women and as healers to come together and lift our babies up. And one thing that came to me, and I had to say, okay, enough is enough, is the social media, the electronics. I done a 30-day electronic fast with my son in the past, and it was seriously like an addict going through withdrawal. It was extremely difficult, but also necessary, and we made it through, and I seen major results. But as time went on, especially because one of my things is, because we have been secluded, isolated, with quarantine. I moved here to the island January 1st, 2020, not knowing anyone, my child not knowing anyone, the transitions we went through. I have felt bad as a mother and allowed him to engage in these electronics and video games to compensate. And that was not the right thing to do. Not saying that they can't have the electronics and the video games, but it has to be healthy, just like anything else. And for my child in particularly, he doesn't need it. Also diet. I was telling my mom how, just him being lazy and, not wanting to do this, not wanting to do that. And the weight that he's gained, as well as the weight that he's lost. But she was saying, oh, you can't buy this and buy that. Well, people who really truly know me know I buy healthy foods. Now, I'm buy some snacks here and there. But the problem is, even with the healthy foods, it's overindulging, because he has turned to food as a form of comfort, as a form of, his nurturing, and yeah, people just, they assume things, but don't really fully understand it all. And, even with me working and things like that, my son's 14. And so he can prepare meals and things like that for himself. A lot of times I do when I have time, but with my schedule lately, he's had a lot of time to prepare for himself. So for example, sandwiches, right? Let's say a peanut butter and honey sandwich on gluten-free bread. Well, that doesn't mean that you can't overindulge, even though gluten-free bread is a healthier option. But if you eat the whole loaf of it, that's not healthy, And so when I'm not around, I can't control that, right? And it's even gotten to the point to where I had to lock the closet. I have a pantry with the food, and I had to lock it because while I'm at work, I come home, a whole bag of trail mix would be gone, So these are just some of the examples. So I realized I'm going to have to do a deep detox with him, and it's going to be challenging, and we've done it before, but it's necessary. I'm going to have to do a detox from electronics. And when I asked him, because what happened was my mom sent us some pound cakes and some Lifesavers, and like the book of Lifesavers. And I said I put one of the pound cakes in the freezer. I cut one, let him have some. And then I set the book of Lifesavers to the side. Well, last night I discovered that he ate the entire book of Lifesavers that was his, as well as Open Minds, and ate 2 out of Minds. And I just was so frustrated with that. And not to mention, I had been at work the whole day and he didn't do anything. And I specifically asked him to clean up after himself. I had to call him and say, take a shower. So anyway, these are clear indications of depression, and a lot of other things. There's some mental illness there. And one thing about it is my son's father was murdered in August, and that wasn't a close relationship, but my child had already been grieving his father way prior to his father transitioning. Okay. And so many people can be opinionated and say, oh, well, he didn't know him, or he didn't have this. You don't get to make that choice for him. You don't get to subtract from his emotions and what he had already been working with from a child, from conception. Let's we won't go into that, but there's conception stories. There's, your birth story. And so just processing that as a mother and knowing that I have the tools, that I have the power to help my child, outside of what society says, oh, they need counseling or they need to be admitted to a psychiatric ward or, medications and things like that. And so I just wanted to come on here to, number one, raise up the mothers who may be dealing with some of these same things that I'm dealing with, as well as these babies, raise them up. And I am working, like I said, in the quantum on assisting them with their healing, raising them up, clearing out these blockages and these emotions. Excuse me. But at the same time, just reminding us that we have the power. We have the power to do it, especially when we come together and connect through our sacred center, sitting in our womb power. And so, again, if you don't already, follow my Facebook and Instagram, Eve Sacred Portal, where I will be going live doing some sound healing to raise the vibration for our babies and the mothers who are assisting our babies in journeying and navigating through this life. And yeah, and also, some ceremonies that I have coming up in the future for the mother-son dynamic. So I thank you all. This video went a little longer than I intended, and I went off into a little more deeper of the story than I intended, but it's all divine order. So I give thanks. Peace, love, and wellness to you all.